Also today, Russia launched a new wave of attacks across multiple regions in Ukraine. At least 5 people were killed. The latest missile and drone strikes come after Moscow hit Ukraine's power grid in its largest air attack of the war yet. Meantime, Ukraine says it's taken nearly 500 square miles of Russia's Kursk region and captured more Russian troops since that surprise incursion started 3 weeks ago. As fighting there intensifies, so do concerns about a potential nuclear incident. Today, the chief of the UN's nuclear watchdog visited the region's power plant, which he said is speckled with traces of drone attacks.
Pointing fingers is something that I, as Director General of the IAEA, must take extremely seriously. But it is obvious that you cannot separate what we have seen here from the recent military activity that we have seen.
He warns the plant is especially vulnerable to attack because it has no protective dome. Any such strike, he says, would have serious consequences. To the race for the White House now, Vice President Kamala Harris has been off the trail so far this week, but she's keeping up her presence on the airwaves.
I know what home ownership means, and sadly right now it is out of reach.
In a new ad, the Harris campaign highlights her plan to build 3 million new homes over 4 years to address rising housing prices. At a rally in Michigan today focused on the economy, Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance took aim at Harris's record.
Americans can't afford groceries because of your leadership, Kamala. Young people can't afford homes because of the policies that you have enacted as vice president.
Meantime, the Trump campaign says that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is joining Donald Trump's presidential transition team after dropping out of the race this past Friday. Former presidential candidate and one-time Democrat Tulsi Gabbard will also serve as an honorary co-chair. Separately, more than 200 former Republican staffers have signed an open letter endorsing Harris over Trump. She and her vice presidential pick, Tim Walz, will be sitting down with CNN for their first joint interview on Thursday evening. Harris has faced some criticism for not making herself more available to the press since Joe Biden dropped out of the race in July and endorsed her. Large parts of the country are sizzling in a late summer heat wave with humidity pushing so-called feels-like temperatures into the triple digits in some areas. More than 70 million people were under some form of heat alert today. Residents of the Midwest and Mid-Atlantic were most directly affected. That has disrupted the first week of school in Detroit and Philadelphia, where students were sent home early today. Forecasts say the Midwest will cool down tomorrow, but the heat will linger on the East Coast for several more days.